I have no idea if anyone will care about this topic because they clearly didn't care enough to keep the game alive. MultiVersus died a little while ago. It was the WB fighter that was apparently the, Smash Bros. Killer?
Well, I think it was the Brawlhalla killer myself.
Oh, got it. Okay. I think Brawlhalla is still around. I think that's really embarrassing, actually, just in general. This is something that Nate, you're here today. You and I talked about this a long time ago. I don't remember if you were in the video, but I do remember making a video or two talking about this game. I think I said I liked the art style a lot. I liked that they got Kevin Conroy back for Batman and some things like that. The roster to me is bizarre, which I will mention when we get further into the video. There's a lot of omitted characters that I think could have helped with what they were doing. But in general, it was a fun idea to take all of WB's properties and turn them into a thing like this. But when I talked about it, I remember years ago, when it was new, I said that I don't see this really being a Smash Bros. Competitor. I don't really see this being around for the long term. It just kind of seems like a fun thing right now. And then with how they were, I think nickel and diming the game and reworking the balancing over and over again, like they straight up scrapped the entire beta, I believe, and redid all of the movement type stuff. It's like, it was always troubled. And I remember saying, I don't expect this around forever. And there were a lot of people who got really mad about that. And I just wanted to be here to rub salt in the wound. I just wanted to show up. Yeah. Basically, I'm petty,
right.
I show up at your mother's funeral to smirk in the background,
Oh, I show up at the mother's house to do something else.
Oh, all right. So, well, no, for me, it's kind of
like... We're two different people here.
It's like you can take the high road and you can show up, at the funeral and you show your respects.
Right.
Or you can stand next to the tree drinking a bottle of gin like Logan.
Yeah.
And kind of smirk over.
That's you, yeah. Right.
Well, in general, jokes aside, we knew this would happen. I don't understand how people didn't know it would happen. So I have a question today for you, which will allow you to either be honest or rewrite history. Did you expect this game to stick around? Are you surprised at what happened to it? I don't think either of us are.
No, and I have that same thing with online games in general, is most of them I don't expect to stick around. Why? Because they're online games.
Yeah, they can be shut down at any time.
Yeah.
The service can be discontinued.
I don't know how many times have we seen this, but for some reason... It's like that SpongeBob meme of how many times do you have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yeah, basically.
I feel like that's it with people online, where every 5 seconds there's some online game that got shut down and people are freaking out about it, or it got delisted from a store or something like that. And me and you are always sitting there how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yeah.
These online games aren't forever.
Well, and it sucks because there are some that are very long lasting. I mean, we talked about this before even recording. RuneScape, which is a game that I grew up playing and I want to make some videos on as well over on my RPG channel, JayRPG and stuff.
Nerd.
Cope. We, I grew up loving that game. It's still around to this day. How long has World of Warcraft been around? How long has, I was going to say RuneScape again, Fortnite been around? Team Fortress 2. There's a lot of games that, Dota, there's a lot of games that have online components or are strictly online that do last, but they're not the rule. They're the exception to the rule. Mm-hmm. For every game that lasts and persists decades, there's probably 100 or 200 or 300 that get shut down in that time and aren't well preserved. And that's actually where this ended up, where if you went onto your account before it was delisted and you wanted to get your cosmetics, your Lola sling bikini, that you had unlocked by playing the game.
Yeah, your LeBron Speedo.
Yeah, which that's the real one I cared about.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be able to unlock that, and keep it. Now, that said, I have two problems with this. First off, I've seen multiple Reddit posts of people who did log on prior to the shutdown and did do what they were supposed to, and it glitched and did not give them anything.
Right.
So first off, you already have a preservation problem there of even if you did put that time in and you wanted to download those things and keep them and be able to play the game offline for fun, which I'll give them credit for making it playable offline.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't work. But secondly, a lot of people didn't unlock everything. There was no way to buy those cosmetics at the end, to just do a complete edition or anything like that. Honestly, I think with how bad this failed, they really should have just auto-unlocked it for anyone with this game on their account history. So if you wanted to have the Samurai Jack costumes, or you wanted to have the Raven costumes, and you didn't even play this game, but it's in your purchase history, I think it should have just been auto-unlocked for everybody and just given offline. Because now, all this stuff is gone, and the only people who have it seems like, are the really hardcore people who now can't play the game with anyone online anyway, or the people on PC who can manipulate their save file and give it out to other people, which is cool of them to do.
Yeah.
But, like, this was on WB. Like, they did really nothing to preserve this game other than just make it playable offline. But all the cosmetics, all of the alternate everything, it's all gone.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty sad what happened to it, too, because kind of going back a little bit, when this game first came out, I remember looking at it, and I remember you tried it out a little bit or whatever, and I saw videos of it online, and I remember thinking, oh, this is kind of cool, but my first immediate thought was, I can totally tell this is a game that's not going to be around forever. Yeah. It's just, you could tell. Mm-hmm. It just had that style to it of like a fun, enjoyable thing for a year. And, eventually they're going to be like, okay, whatever, let's just move on. And I think when they started adding costumes and things like that to the game, I was actually pretty surprised when that happened. And the point I'm trying to get at is I was a little bit surprised with how long WB preserved the game itself, because I wasn't expecting that. But then to see it glitch out with all those costumes that they did add in, that I thought was cool, and all that stuff, to see all that glitch out, I think that's just kind of sad. Because it's kind of like, that stuff was actually cool. And you shocked me. I was a little surprised they held on as long as they did and added as much as they did, which, to be honest, wasn't really that much. But they did add some stuff. But I wasn't expecting anything, really. And then to see it glitch out on players and all this stuff, it's just kind of like, this is depressing. And now you go on this game and it's like, yeah, there's an offline component to it, which is cool. But now you don't have costumes, you don't have any of this stuff. You just have the characters, which is cool if you like this. But I don't know. I guess I don't get why is it so challenging for people to see and understand this?
Well, also, why is it so challenging for the company to just say, hey, we're already losing all of our money, this is going away, let's just do a complete edition, $5.
Yeah.
We can recoup some damages, or even, or even, you know what, we already lost out on this completely, let's just say we're going to get some goodwill with the community. Yeah. We're going to give out all the costumes and everything for free. This game was a failure, but some of you really love it. Here you go. Have fun with it offline. At least then, it would... You would have gotten a complete game offline, not part of the game offline. Yeah. And it would have, I think, been like a very good look for the company, which WB is short on. Right now, they
need all the help they can get.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of bad things when it comes to goodwill. Like, recently, they just shut down, this is an aside, but they just shut down a screening of the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. Like, someone was going to just show it to some friends and members at a video store, and they had to DMCA them with legal action to be like, no, you can't watch that. It's like, this is WB. Yeah. WB is the company that throws out DMCA's copyright claims when they don't like what you're saying. They're the company that makes dumb mistakes and ships out the Gotham Knights guidebook weeks ahead of time and then pisses themselves when people talk about it on the internet. They're the company that always promises to have live-action universes and then manages to jam their own foot up their ass with them and, like, fall down the stairs Looney Tunes style. They're the company that manages to rebrand HBO 35 times into different names. It's HBO. It's HBO Max. It's Max. It's HBO Max again. Oh, now we got rid of Looney Tunes on there. Did you see that?
I did.
They got rid of their own freaking Looney Tunes library. Yeah. They're not preserving any of their content. They are constantly landing bad optics. They're constantly making themselves look bad or look like a jerk or devalue the communities who did help build up their brand and ignore them. I even saw an example like Susan Eisenberg, who voiced Wonder Woman in the DCAU years ago, saying, hey, we want to come back and do more DCAU. Got ignored by WB at the time. Over the decades, WB has just constantly made themselves look bad. And this, to me, is just another example of that. And I know that was like a long rant. But you know what I mean? Like, I love some of the stuff this company has. But I know they don't.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care about it. They look at Bugs Bunny and they're like, who cares about this cuck?
Right.
Like, they don't care about it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the execs probably don't even know what they have. They're just like, oh, some bunny thing? Yeah, but whatever. Put that in a movie.
What the hell is Tom and Jerry? Is that a condom brand?
Right.
Like, they have no idea. Well, I think we would also look at this roster.
Yeah.
And we would say, hey, maybe instead of putting in the banana guard from Adventure Time, you know how you're putting in Agent Smith? Maybe we should put in his arch nemesis, Neo.
No.
From the Matrix.
No, let's put in Banana Guard.
Maybe that'll make people come in and actually try the game. I feel like we can look at a roster like this, and even if we're okay with a lot of the people in the game, we can see 100 more that could have been in the game and stoked interest for people. You know?
Yeah, and we can also think of costumes. Like, here's one right now. Taz and Marvin the Martian are in the game, and Bugs Bunny, and Lola, I guess. Here's a costume you could put in from Lunatics Unleashed. To me, this game is very much a, what's the word? Not a cash-in, but like very much a, let's just throw something together to hop on a bandwagon here. And as soon as it wasn't as profitable anymore, it's like, okay, whatever, let's move on.
Well, yeah, and they were chasing games as a service. You saw this at the same time that they were chasing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Yeah.
As a games as a service, and neither of them worked out.
Well, and even just this genre in general, like Brawlhalla came out, this game, you know, there's a couple different Smash Bros. Type games that were releasing at this time. And I feel like WB just was like, oh, let's just add one to the, you know, the mix. People want to play our thing. And people did. And people enjoyed it. And then again, once it wasn't as profitable anymore, I was like, okay, whatever.
And not enough, I mean, to them, not enough people played it. So this is a problem, too, with this style of game, which I think we do point out with online games, is with a single-player game, if not enough people play it, the game is out. Yeah. It won't get a sequel, but you have your game. Right. Now, with an online game like this, if not enough people play it, they just yoink it from you, Homer Simpson style. Yeah. And then you don't get to actually even enjoy the full game anymore. And you know, that's kind of where this is at, where unless you grinded every single season and you got everything and it actually worked in the end, which it didn't for some people. Some people did grind the seasons and didn't get what they earned in the end for offline. Mm-hmm. You have to have all of those things, your own blood, sweat, and tears going into this game, plus it actually working. Yeah. That is the only way that you got a complete offline. And you might have even done everything right, if you want to say that, where you did spend all that time and still didn't get it. Mm-hmm. But then, you know, it's like, why was it worth getting rid of all that content for everyone else? And why was it such a big problem when we pointed out that this game wasn't going to be around forever? Because guess what? We were right. It wasn't around forever. It died. Yeah. It wasn't a Smash Bros. Competitor. Guess what's still kicking? Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yeah, right. Came out on the Switch before this. Mm-hmm. Still doing just fine. Yeah. So, like, why was that such a big deal to say? Why was that such a groundbreaking take? I said the same thing about the Evil Dead game. And people were like, no, it'll be fine. It's dead. Yeah. They delisted it. You know, not WB, but...
It's a different company, but yeah.
Like, I just don't understand...
I just don't get I don't get why we're
so like, smart.
Why are we the super geniuses?
Right, why are we little Einsteins?
Yeah. Like, that's...
Just leave it there. Right. Why are we so smart? Let us know in the comments down below. That is the question of the day, the secondary question of the day. Why are we so smart? Right. Why should we be your real dad? Let us know.
I think so. Huge cock for myself. That's a reason. But, you know, whatever.
I would hope that your son wouldn't care about that.
No, he would.
You backed yourself into a corner.
No, there's something to look up to.
Yeah, what, when they're, like, in bed at night? No, slowly watching the door creak open?
No, when they...
What are you talking about here?
When they get to be an adult, then they can have something to look forward to.
You're going to sleep with your son when he's an adult?
No, they're going to have, like, a giant penis themselves. You know, it's exciting stuff. Like, I don't know. All right. Haven't you been excited about that? When you
I just want to let you simmer in what you've created here.
No, I think it's fine.
I don't know, Nate, what else do you think about this? Because in general, like, I know it's kind of a petty video.
But, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, online-only games, I don't know how many times we have to say this, are not forever. They're just not.
Which sucks.
Do you know what is forever? As long as I have a working Xbox, what is forever? Assassin's Creed 2. Mm-hmm. I have the game. on the Ezio collection. As long as my Xbox Series X works, I have the game.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah. And that's kind of that to me is just why single-player games will pretty much always be superior to me, is because I'm tired of getting into these games like this, and then a year later the company's being like, yeah, we had 500,000 people playing this game, but now it's down to 490,000. It's dead. We're delisting it.
Yeah.
And it's like, because it's not making enough money that they wanted, then it's now a problem to them. But there's so many like shills out there that are just like, no, it's great, it's awesome, it's perfect, online only game's great, I'm gonna spend another $500 on this game because it's perfect, and then like a year later they're complaining like, why did this get shut down? Gee, I don't know.
Well, we're not.
It's an online only game,
and I think we're not saying that you can't complain when something gets shut down. Like I remember when the Assassin's Creed multiplayer shut down, we complained about it.
Yeah,
because like we want these things preserved. It's just we've seen enough times that they're not, to know that they won't be.
Here's the thing.
If somebody says they won't be preserved, we're not going to get mad at them.
Right. And my thing is, like, I never got into MultiVersus that much. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really a huge fan of the game. But I'm still kind of upset that it's got shut down.
Right.
Because to me, it's like, there are people out there who love this game, and now they can't play it anymore.
Yeah, and if you ever did want to get into the game and play it offline for fun...
Yeah.
You would now have to go on PC, get the game on PC somehow, probably cracked because you didn't already have it in your, Steam library.
Right.
Then you'd have to get someone to share their save data with you. It's like you have to jump through too many hoops to preserve it. And I don't know, the game preservation stuff is something that it feels more and more like we care about, but nobody else does. I think that's what makes me sad is I want online games preserved. I want the World of Warcraft classic servers to be up forever. I want... Guild Wars 2 to be functional forever. I want Battlefield 3, they shut it down on console. I would have loved if it just stayed up, just so that people have the option to go back and play it for nostalgia.
Yeah.
I get, though, that they won't. So if somebody told me, eventually this game you like will be shut down, I wouldn't be like, I'm going to find you and wring your neck here. I'd be like, well, that sucks, but you're probably right. Yeah. I think to me, that was what was so weird about this was the weird defensive-ness around this game when it launched, that people had like some kind of weird thing to prove about the game they didn't even work on. Yeah. People who played it, that they thought this is a permanent fixture of the gaming market. Why did you think that? Like, these companies continually prove that they don't care about these things like we do.
Yeah.
The people who play them. We care more than they do. That's just how it is. They proved it over and over again. How many times do they have to prove it?
Yeah, the companies care about it until it's not profitable anymore.
Right, and then the developers and the artists and those people who do care about it, who did actually make it, are in the same boat as gamers. Yeah. They're in the boat of, well, it probably even worse. Look at all my hard work is being delisted. That's really gotta suck. You just played the game. Imagine making that. Yeah. And then some, faceless corporation above you says, hey, that art you made, we're getting rid of it. Yeah. It would be like...
Well, it's like the example of what's that game that came out like 2 years ago, X Defiant or something?
Yes, X Defiant.
Yeah. It lasted, for a year?
And a half, yeah.
Year and a half, and then they're like, okay, we're done with that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just imagining all the developers who made that game. There was probably a lot of them that were really excited about it.
Yeah.
And yet, a year and a half later, the people above them were like, yep, we're done with that game.
Yeah, I remember,
they're probably thinking, cool.
I remember playing that game, and there were a lot of developers on it who very clearly cared about those Ubisoft properties where they made things that were, like Easter eggs and stuff like that, in the same way that these people did. Yeah. And it's weird because, in any other medium, people don't defend this behavior. Mm-hmm. Whenever we bring this up, it's always okay in gaming. Where there will be some people who are just... They accept, everything's temporary, it doesn't matter, it's all like a burger that's all disposable. Yeah. But what's weird is, in every other medium, no one would accept this. If, a movie just got delisted and destroyed, no one would accept it. If, an artist made a painting, and then when the museum was done with it, they just burned it instead of giving it back, nobody would accept that. Right. But for some reason with video games, it's seen as a disposable medium that doesn't matter. And so... You have on one side people who are just blinded to it, who think everything lasts forever. And then you have the other people who I'd argue are even worse, who know it doesn't and don't care. They just, to them, it's just a disposable piece of garbage. Yeah. Which is, nihilistic to me. How can you look at a piece of art, no matter what it is, for the most part, There might be something actually really gruesome and awful I could see wanting gone. But for most art, how could you look at it and just say,
right.
I don't care. Whatever. Then why are you even interacting with it? You know, that's my other thing. It's like, why interact with something that you have a nihilistic view of that it doesn't even matter if it stays around? That's so weird to me.
I think it's people who are so... Consumerist. They're so, what's the word? They're so invested with being in the know and the next popular thing or
trendy.
Whatever.
Like
Trendy.
they're trend chasers.
Yep.
Like the sneaker people who always want the new sneaker and then the old one doesn't matter, that kind of thing.
I think there's a
hype
lot
culture.
of gamers have gone into the hype culture.
Yeah.
It's just, this game is the newest thing, I want to play that, I'm done with that other thing.
You know how I view a lot of those people is there was a classic clip, it was viral at the time, where Supreme, the brand, was selling bricks with the label Supreme on it.
Yeah.
And no, maybe it wasn't bricks, it was like a crowbar. And they asked this guy, why do you want that? What are you going to do with it? And he's like, I don't know, but I'll own a crowbar that says Supreme. Isn't that cool? And he was just there to be there because it was like the hype thing.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually see a lot of gamers.
Yeah.
It's like they're just consumerists. Like
they're consumerists,
new thing
and
good.
they want to be able to interact with other people, whether it's online or in person, with the newest thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't want to miss out. So they're just constantly invested in what's the newest thing, and that's it. You know, I see this with people who are really into streaming services, like Netflix or whatever.
Oh, they want to watch the new show when it's trendy, or even an old show that becomes trendy.
Yep, exactly.
But until then, they didn't care.
Well, that's kind of what it was with like Fallout. I remember when the Fallout TV show came out, all the people, you know, really hopped on the bandwagon for Fallout games, like New Vegas and 3 and 4 and stuff. And that was, you know, people were live streaming it. People were on Twitter and stuff like that, like interacting and be like, oh, Fallout was great. Yeah, I haven't played this in a while and all this stuff. And I'm like, I've always been playing this game.
Yeah.
I didn't need a TV show.
You're a gatekeeper.
Yeah. It's like,
No,
I didn't need a TV show coming out and millions of other people hopping on the bandwagon to watch this Fallout TV show to enjoy the game.
Avatar: The Last Airbender was the same
another
way.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you can just enjoy the game.
And it's okay if you hear about it from that, but if the only reason you're getting into it is because other people it's popular and you're chasing hype culture to be in the now.
Yeah, because
that's different. Because I didn't know about Avatar: The Last Airbender until it was starting to get popular online. And then I remember I didn't even stream it. I was just like, oh, this looks fun. I watched a trailer for it.
Yeah.
And then I went and I bought the Blu-ray season of it.
Yeah.
And I watched it.
Right.
And I think I only really talked to you about it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't buy it because it was popular. I bought it because it brought it to my attention.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a difference between like the hype culture chasing that thing. I think that's what a lot of people do with online games like MultiVersus. And you can see they did it because they all dropped it.
Yeah, you know, once it wasn't popular anymore.
Yeah.
They moved on to the next thing.
Yeah, and they didn't even care when it shut down a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, and that to me is just so weird. Like, I know I've seen this with Nintendo, like the Switch Online thing, where they have the GameCube games now with the Switch 2. They brought in like Game Boy Advance games,
and now
you know,
people want to play them again. But
and that's my thing. Like, people were kind of like, "Oh my gosh, Wind Waker! I haven't played this since I was a kid. Oh my gosh, I got to get a Switch 2."
Where were you on the Wii U?
I'm like, Wind Waker, I own it.
Yeah, on the Wii U we even have it.
Yeah. I literally own a disc of it, the HD remastered version of the Wii U. I could have played that at any point in my life.
So you're saying you think a lot of this, and a lot of the reason people don't care and it's disposable, is because they're chasing a trend.
Yeah.
And to them, trends die and pass away anyway. So when the game dies and is away, by then the trend is over, so they don't care. They don't even look back. Until
the future when Nintendo's like, oh, play our subscription service Wind Waker. And then people are online talking about Wind Waker again. So they're like, well, I gotta hop on the game and play Wind Waker now.
Or they get nostalgic in their 30s. Yeah.
You know.
Or they get really nostalgic in their 30s and they realize what they gave up.
Yeah.
Like they realize, I can't play any of those games anymore. Anyways, I think we went on a little long here.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Nate, do you have any closing thought?
No, I don't.
You don't have anything?
I better not go into it or else it'll be another 15 minutes.
I think we'll talk more about the disposability of games in the future.
Yeah,
you know, we wanted to take a look at how Nintendo is dealing with it and a lot of people, and it's just a shame. So, let us know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, you want to leave a like, subscribe, we appreciate you very, very much. We hope you have a fantastic day. You want to support our channel, you can actually use an online code right here with some hypocrisy. Our Fortnite code, DJAY123. I will say in my defense, at least that game's been around for many years. Taking a shot at MultiVersus there. We also do have our own store, CosmoBunny.shop, where we make coasters, keychains, trays, and more out of recycled paper from comics, manga, and magazines and other stuff that has been damaged. What we do with that is we actually make new pieces of art transformatively out of those things, make sure the rest ends up in the recycling. And then my wife Jill also does amazing handmade beaded jewelry and handmade resin earrings and all kinds of stuff like that. And we hope you'll check that out. Discount code DJAY123 for 10% off that. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shway.